Somehow we need to legalize the ability for people to do damage to other people's property, and even other people in rage, born out of frustration of being unable to have as good of a life as the people you are assaulting. Of course, we have no power as the people to legalize anything. Tremendous pressure has to be brought to bear, so the government fears the unrest of the masses so much that they feel like their new world order might collapse, and only then might they legalize something. Democracy doesn't work in these matters. As an example of what I am proposing, let's say you're a guy who mows lawns in a neighborhood like this. One day you find out your truck will not start because it's a used truck, it's old, and yet you see someone in this neighborhood has a new Ford Raptor parked in the driveway. And you think to yourself, I bet that Ford Raptor starts out without trouble, or starts up without trouble every time. That makes you mad, and so you go and you beat up the Ford Raptor with a shovel in rage, smashing windows and denting the body of it. You do it in frustration, simply to let out pent-up rage, because you snapped. Here I am mowing the lawns of these rich people every day, and I can't afford a Ford Raptor. So why am I mowing their fucking lawns if I don't get to have the same shit for mowing lawns as they do? And so you beat up their shit in rage to deprive them of it. And you should be able to calmly explain to the person whose property you destroyed that, look, I was just pissed off, my car wouldn't start, it's old, I keep mowing lawns for you rich people, yet no matter how much I mow the lawns, no matter how many burgers I flip at McDonald's, I can't attain what you have attained. I'm frustrated. These things happen. You snap and you destroy stuff. Switch positions with me. How would you feel? And see, if this crime is genuinely in frustration, and it wasn't just some premeditated thuggery for fun, it should be legal to do, and the police should be able to do nothing about it. And then if people can't go to the police, it will then force them to contribute to donations to get the frustrated person the material possessions they desire that they can't afford with their income of doing a stupid, shitty job. In this world, you got to have the freedom where if you feel like your stuff sucks, or your life sucks, and someone else has exceptionally good stuff, or a better life, you gotta have the freedom where if you snap and end up beating up and wrecking the stuff of the people who are more fortunate than you, there is no consequences. I got tired of my stuff sucking and your stuff being good, and so I snapped. And as long as you honestly snapped, it wasn't just some thuggery for fun, it should be legal to do. You have to be able to explain to the kindly police officer, in a calm, kindly, rapport-building tone, that you got pissed off because some aspect of your life sucks, that you have no power to correct, that does not suck for the rich people you're interacting with, and that's why you took it out on them. And the cop should shrug companionably and not arrest you, despite the evidence of the destroyed stuff laying right there, despite there being maybe a video of you destroying the stuff, because the cop should sympathize that life is hard. It's not like your goal in destroying other people's stuff when you snap under pressure is to go to jail. Your goal is to have such an action improve your life because it will show people who are more capable than you how desperate you are, and it will force them to do something beneficial for you. You have to view society as an alien force that is outside of yourself, where you feel put upon by society, like you're put upon by bad weather. Another way you should be able to reason with society in order to try to obtain riches is ask society, or ask a random rich family whose lawn you're mowing. Ask them the following question: how many times should I mow your lawn before I can get a house like yours. Is 50 times enough? Is 100 times enough? And when they don't know how to reply, you demand a definitive answer. And don't accept some ridiculous answer like 1,000,000 times or something. You should laugh out loud at that answer. You reasonably state that you want a goal that's achievable within a year of your life or so. Otherwise, don't dedicate yourself to the goal. Don't even work. Be homeless. Or get angry and smash the stuff belonging to other people, stuff that you can apparently never earn. Nobody has 1,000,000 days in a lifetime to mow the lawn. Just demand of society a sensible goal of how many lawn mowings do I have to do before I earn a house like this, before you, society, give me a house like this. And demand that the goal be something that's achievable within a year. I will mow the lawn 150 times and you, society, will give me a house at the end of that. Don't just have society squeeze the lawn mowings from you for the rest of your life so you can support yourself. That's ridiculous. No, just 50 lawn mowings, then I get a house like that, and fuck you. I don't mow the lawns anymore. Find someone else to do it. And if society resists this idea, then you smash up the house of the random rich people of whom you asked this question, in rage, because fuck them for having a house like that if you can't. And it should all be legal. If they tell you, you need to do something more than mow a lawn, like be a doctor or a lawyer to earn a house like that, you say, fuck no, you have permanent eye bags because you're skipping sleep to be a doctor. I'm not doing that to my face for a fucking house. And then in anger you smash their wealth. And it should all be legal. Now onto another tangential topic. Grindall61 had his channel demonetized. Now he can't make money to drive around to city council meetings around California and videotape and expose them and all their Agenda 2030 shenanigans that they are pushing. This way the elites can have their censorship, so the goyim do not wake up to the conspiracies. I have always advocated legalizing death threats, even though we don't have the power in this Judeo-Freemasonic dictatorship to legalize anything for our benefit. Now, if he threatens to shoot up YouTube in revenge, they will laugh at him and have him arrested, and the media will slander him as a schizophrenic conspiracy theorist who is also violent. You see how they can do fucked up things to you, to make you lose your cool, to make you frustrated, and when you react with violence, they put you away and use the media to make themselves look like the reasonable ones. Again, that has to be put a stop to. But people won't put a stop to it, because people are under a magic spell. Let me explain how such a magic spell is done in a Judeo-Freemasonic dictatorship that must pose as a democracy in order to make it appear as if it is fulfilling the will of the people. All oppression and removal of liberties must appear as if it is the will of the people, and the people have to believe that it is their will. So you have free speech, so that means death threats should be legal, right? But the government wants to make death threats illegal in order to protect itself from the people. So how do they get the masses to go along with that idea and feel as if it is them, the people, who actually want such a law? Well, since the media is controlled by the rulers, all they have to do is contrive some fake news stories depicting people suffering from death threats inflicted on them by bad guys. Also, you create a bunch of movies where an evil character who inflicts a death threat always follows through on it, with devastating results. In the minds of the masses who consume this media, it will appear as if death threats are a horrendous nightmare, a scourge that is destroying people's lives. Next, you just need to have a bunch of lawmakers ready who will propose making death threats illegal. For example, someone who receives a death threat might be told by the police What a jerk that guy is who threatened you. Wouldn't you wish you could get him arrested? Wouldn't you wish you had that kind of power? Since nobody likes jerks, so of course the person might shrug and say, sure, I'm chill with that. Give me the power to have him arrested and I'll do it. The lawmakers and the media have to tell you that the benefit of such a law will far outweigh the freedoms you will lose because of it if you make death threats illegal. Look, most of you never need to threaten anyone anyway, and would never do it anyway because it offends your conscience. So nothing is really lost by it, right? So the people nod along and tell the government, okay, make it law, make death threats illegal. After all, it's a small sacrifice if it means making the world more just and more fair for my fellow American citizens. So now you allowed yourselves to get manipulated. Then one or several of you one day run into a problem where YouTube unfairly demonetizes your channel, or the government does something fucked up to you, or your relative does something fucked up to you, and you go, oh, I wish I could threaten to shoot up YouTube, and thus have some sort of power over YouTube, and maybe out of fear they will restore monetization to my channel. But YouTube, the Judeo-Freemasonic dictatorship creation that it is, can now get you arrested if you do that, and so you end up a total fucking loser with no recourse. Good job. That's what you get for falling for their propaganda. You end up defanged, declawed, and neutered. How to run a dictatorship that's disguised as a democracy, where the citizens don't know they are in a dictatorship? Well, here's the secret. It requires 24/7 propaganda media, news, and fictional entertainment, combined with fake events reported in the news that are tailored toward a certain narrative and sold as real events. The rulers must run a 24/7 psyop operation through the media. The only way to keep the citizens calm while the noose is tightening and the liberties are chipped away is to create fake psyop events, such as fake mass shootings, fake terrorist attacks, false flags, and fake news stories with fake narratives, and fictional entertainment stories that push the narratives of the government, that put the people in fear so people become willing to sacrifice liberties in order to alleviate the fear. And that's how you run a dictatorship disguised as a democracy. Of course, these rulers also have to be bound by tribalism, religion, shared psychopathy, a sense that they are human and everyone not of their tribe is an animal. And if one of them steps out of line, spills secrets, then he is murdered, like in the mafia. And the media decries the truth he said as conspiracy theory, created by a schizophrenic mind. Lastly, what to do about mass shooters, especially school shooters, as far as admiration and sympathy of them goes. So many mass shootings have been proven to be faked and false flags. How can you admire the shooters if they are some FBI-coached actors playing out what becomes a propaganda piece to get the populace to agree to a disarmament? For example, in the Columbine shooting, multiple police reports from witnesses indicate there was a third man in a white t-shirt and jeans, and he was throwing smoke bombs toward the school, with Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold walking around right there with him. And before the shooting, you had a guy in a suit, probably from the FBI, walking around the school taking notes. The government has not provided any answers regarding that. Well, you can't sit there and be emotionally engaged in these staged events, since they're fake. I wrote a statutory rape-themed novel called Dance of Death. Now I have to write a gun control-themed novel, and it has to bring up false flags as part of the plot. But I'm so emotionally invested in the school shooter thing that I got to have an honest school shooter or two in the plot. I did a search for Elliot Rodger in Zach Hubbard's book, which I pirated from a place I know, and he does bring him up, and how it's another false flag set up by Gematria. I'll get around to reading that portion of the book eventually. And what's funny is I wanted to plagiarize the story of Elliot Rodger for my novel. But see, that's the thing. I'm a fiction writer, and isn't it amazing all these false flags and news stories seem to fit better into fiction than they do into reality? That's because the people who create these false flag scenarios, or think them up, are not much further from novelists themselves. Isn't there one real mass shooter? Why aren't people doing this for real? I imagine the government intended to put the idea out there specifically to encourage the people, the people that their system has disenfranchised to do that stuff. But did that ploy actually work? Was there ever a legitimate mass shooting that was inspired by all the fake ones?